It's pretty much ready now once we get to start video.
And how many are online?
Well, I don't know yet. I haven't let them in. We have to let them in until it's started.
One set of
Is that where the ambassador is going to sit?
yeah.
Let me move around.
Foreign minister.
Foreign minister, sorry. Embassy, foreign minister. What the hell? Here we are. Oh, good. So he's got his own screen. That's good.
Yeah.
We've got two foreign ministers.
Yes, we will change the name because
Okay.
we have three screens, so we just want to make sure
Okay, sure.
that alternates are also.
Are we ready to roll? I wish I'd known you had this out of. Okay, we've got people coming in now. Did they take time to come in? No, this is all. These are outside participants. It's recording. Hello, welcome everyone. We're just setting up.
We are calling FM in 5 minutes. Is it?
Yeah, sure. It's pretty much ready now. We're 16 who are participants in this. There are other people watching
And
on YouTube. I won't be able to get the details. Pardon?
Your microphone is.
Yes. Well, it's okay. No, I don't want to stop the video yet, do we?
Yeah, for now, just turn off and turn back on so it's more clear.
Okay, right.
Yeah, these are some of the participants who might want to ask.
Sorry?
These are the participants, Nabil, Linka, they might want to ask questions
Sure.
during the press conference.
Okay, good. That's what press conferences are for. Good. We allow them. It's not a North Korean press conference.
How are you? That's better? Can you sit down?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, moderator. Okay. The mask will be up or down.
I'm not sure. It depends.
This is Ian Williams.
Hello. Hello. Good to
Ian
see you.
Williams,
Thank you very much
President
for making
FBA,
it possible.
Foreign Press Association.
This. Okay. Who's cheating? Okay. Getting a serious feedback here. My microphone, you think? Hello, everyone. I am Ian Williams, President of the Foreign Press Association in New York, and it gives me a great deal of pleasure today, even with some of the feedback, to welcome His Excellency, the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, and okay. I didn't realize we were having a 3-screen situation. We're very technically advanced here today. So obviously this is in the middle of the General Assembly. We're very grateful to the Foreign Minister for the time he's taken, and for his staff like FM Shah here, who has dealt with about 5 changes a day in the schedule during the General Assembly to make this possible. Who says the UN can't be flexible, or UN missions can't be flexible? And this is a very significant time, of course, for Pakistan and the United Nations. And if I could lead in, other people come with questions, but Mr. Your Excellency, today I understand the Taliban have offered or suggested that they're sending somebody to be the ambassador at the United Nations. Does Pakistan have a view on that? Should they have somebody at the moment? Should it be this person? Should they eventually have an ambassador at the United Nations? There are many issues involved here, and Pakistan's proximity to the problem. You have, you have more in the case than most others.
Well, I think they've nominated someone to represent them, but my understanding is that they are yet not recognized. That's one issue. If there's no recognition, how can they get representation? The other issue is that the person who is representing Afghanistan at the UN, the question is, who is he representing? You know, the people that he was nominated by or he was representing have left. Who does he report to? And what kind of a communication you could have with the person sitting here in the UN system who's not recognized by authorities who are in charge. So it's a very complicated situation. Obviously, it's an evolving situation, and a decision will have to be taken by the appropriate committee. The Credentials Committee, I believe, will have to take a decision at an appropriate time. So
I understand the Secretary General is thinking that perhaps this could be used as leverage for the Taliban to give some of the assurances that the United Nations and other bodies want from a future Taliban administration about how they administer the country. Do you think that's a feasible strategy, or isn't there enough leverage in this?
see, the question is, how do you engage with them? Do you engage with them by, sort of pressurizing them, or do you engage with them recognizing that they are a reality, they're there, and we have certain expectations, and they should live up to those expectations, and if they do, and if they send signals which are positive, then engage in a more constructive way. For example, the initial announcement by the Taliban on an interim setup was viewed not very positively. People thought that it's a very restricted group. It's primarily representing one ethnic group over there, and it's not as representative as it should have been. But today, I'm told that there has been an expansion, and some new people have been inducted, and amongst them, other important ethnic groups have been incorporated. There are a couple of names that represent the Tajik community. I'm told there is an Uzbek representation, and I'm told that there is one representative of a Hazara Shia community. If that is the understanding, then if that is so, and if that is what has been reported is correct, then I think that's a positive, inclusive approach.
Especially the Hazara
representative. Yeah, it is a inclusive approach, and that should be encouraged. I think any step or gesture which is in line with your expectations, if that comes about, it should be welcomed. Obviously, you can ask for more. They might still be falling short of your expectations. But at least they're moving in the right direction. And if they are moving in the right direction, then they should be engaged constructively, positively.
Mr. Minister, could you please tell us, Nabil Abisar from Al Arabi TV station, what was the role that Pakistan played in this regard? How did you encourage or convince the Taliban to accept the expansion, accept the inclusive with other minorities or groups in Afghanistan?
You see, to begin with, they understand that Afghanistan is a country which has a number of ethnic groups, right? And if they want to have a broad-based government, those groups have to be kept in mind. Then they're also not oblivious of what the chatter is. They're also, we've had discussions amongst amongst the neighbors. There was a SCO meeting in Dushanbe. Now, it's not just the West saying that. It's not the US saying that. Every neighbor and other important SCO meeting suggested that. So if everybody's saying that, it makes sense. And if they're responding and they're showing sensitivity to that, that's good.
And if I may follow up, do you see that there should be a roadmap for the near future in Afghanistan? What should be the next step from the Taliban? How can Taliban be more responsive to the international community? What should they do now?
Well, the international community has asked for a number of things. They've asked for an inclusive arrangement, an inclusive political arrangement. From the inductions today, it seems that they're open minded to that. They are responsive. The international community is saying that they should have no links with terrorist organizations. The statement that they have made clearly says that they will not allow Afghan soil to be used against anyone, any third country, and they will have no links with such organizations. If they can demonstrate that practically, it will be positive. There's one other thing. Sorry? Respect human rights. That was a third important ask.
My take on that were there any women in the inclusiveness today?
My information is not yet.
A lot of people will be looking at that particular evidence.
Certainly they are. Certainly. Well, see, the question is, it's a step-by-step approach. They can say that we've responded, but you can say you haven't responded enough. And they can say we haven't shut our minds to that. And who knows? Who knows? There could be an inclusion tomorrow or the day after. I don't know. I don't speak for them. They don't consult me. They are independent. They take their own decisions. But women are an important section of society, and they can, and they will contribute. and to have them on board will be useful.
Azim, you?
Mr. Minister, is America and US on the same page? Is Pakistan and US on the same page as far as the withdrawal and the aftermath from Afghanistan is concerned? And secondly, today President Biden has talked about 4 countries access partnership: India, America, and then Japan. They are part of that. Do you feel, as Pakistani, do you feel any kind of threatened because India is eternally hostile to Pakistan?
Well, on the withdrawal, that was, I think it should not shock anyone because that was coming. To begin with, they could not have stayed there forever. As the president said, there was a purpose. That purpose was met, and there is no point in continuing to stay there any longer. The mission, according to him, was accomplished. Then the previous administration had, through their talks with the Taliban, announced a date. If I am not mistaken, they said they will withdraw by the 31st of May, right? So it isn't that, suddenly a decision of withdrawal has been taken. When this administration came in, they undertook a review. They did immediately agree with what the previous administration had promised. They undertook a review and followed through that. Asked for more time, but did what the previous administration had committed to. So it seems that there was a bipartisan consensus on or agreement towards the withdrawal. On the question of a meeting of the Quad, that's a decision. Every country has a right to have partnerships. We have our concerns vis-a-vis India, and those concerns are genuine. They're genuine because India has been destabilizing Pakistan. They have been instigating insurgency. They have been using Afghan soil against us. We have evidence of that. That evidence was shared with the international community, with the P5 members and other key countries. We have concern vis-a-vis that. They are violating human rights in a big way in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. There's hardly any talk about that. We mentioned that, but it goes unnoticed. And there is talk about it. And now people have started expressing that application of human rights is important, but why should it be selective? Why should it be selective? I mean, if human rights are important for Afghanistan, those very universal rights are important for other parts, Kashmir and other parts as well. So you can't have selective application of human rights. We have concerns with India, vis-a-vis India. We tried to engage with them when we came into office because our focus is on economic security of the country, focusing on human development, institutional reforms. We have a reform agenda And for that, we require peace, peace on the Western Front and on our eastern side. But unfortunately, the government in Delhi went the other way. They did not respond to the positive gestures we made, and they took steps which were illegal, violative of Security Council resolutions, and unilateral. They vitiated the climate. So, despite our willingness to be positive, they have been aggressive.
Yes,
Uh,
do you identify yourself?
Okay.
Take a
Thank
mask off
you.
so we can hear
My name is Lenka White from the Mainichi newspaper. You just spoke about the conditions the international community has. I was wondering, does Pakistan has the same condition to recognize Taliban as the rest of the international community? And are you having any bilateral meetings here, for example, with China or others to discuss Afghanistan? Thank you.
Well, I've just had a meeting with my Chinese counterpart in Dushanbe. He's not here to begin with. So who do I meet? He's not here. But we have, and we will, simply for the reason that they share a border with Afghanistan. They are interested in a peaceful, stable Afghanistan, and we consult, and we have common concerns, and they can be, a useful partner for Afghanistan's development. Afghanistan would require reconstruction, investment in the days ahead, and they can be useful in that respect.
And the conditions?
Sorry?
Do you have the same conditions as the international community for recognition of Taliban?
Well, we are saying that Taliban should, Taliban would require, if they want recognition, then they will have to be responsive to what they say. If they need financial assistance, then they cannot overlook what the world is saying. And if they are responsive, then the environment for them will improve. Certainly, they will gain nothing by taking steps that will isolate them. It's neither in their interest to remain isolated, nor, in my view, it will be in the interest of the international community to isolate them. They will gain nothing from this engagement.
I don't want you to violate any secrecy, but it was plain that there was a lot of collaboration between the departing United States and the incoming Taliban. It's inconceivable that an evacuation on that scale could have gone with so little incident without some considerable degree of collaboration and handshaking behind the scenes. Do you have any sources or comments on that?
I can't.
Just want you to break confidentiality. It's okay.
But no. First of all, I have no such information to begin with. But I do know that they were communicating. What was Ambassador Zalbekhalil doing? He was communicating. They were in negotiations. They were sitting in Doha. They were talking to each other. And one of the outcomes of that process of negotiation was that there was an understanding that the Taliban would not be attacking US or NATO soldiers. Right? And even when they were there, they more or less, I'm told, respected that understanding.
Which implies that they do have a lot of discipline. So, I mean,
Me?
no, it implies that the Taliban have a disciplined force. It's not like the sort of rebels amongst them was like to provoke an
There
incident.
are two views. There are two views. There are some who feel that they have discipline and they demonstrated that. And there's another view that it's not one monolithic group. There are different factions, but time will tell. Time will tell. It's too early to pass judgment.
Can we take a question from outside? Poonam Sharma says, Pakistani, your Prime Minister, in an interview with the BBC, said the women of Afghanistan are very strong. I feel give them time and they will assert their rights 1, 2, 3 years. And she contrasts that with credible reports of the Taliban repressing human rights. And remarks on the recent demonstrations, which were sort of unprecedented in a way. Do they deserve the support of the international community, including Pakistan? Do you feel the Afghan women are getting such support?
Well, what you can see is that, at least one has seen on television screens, I haven't been to Kabul since the takeover, but what I have seen on television, I've seen shots, footage of women demonstrating in Kabul. Now, this was, I think, in the 90s, this was unthinkable. It was unthinkable, but today it is happening. That shows there is a different approach. That shows that in the last 20 years, things have changed. Women are more demanding and they're more assertive, and they can speak for themselves, which is good.
Iftikhar, my rival for Dean of the UN Press Corps. He's in Glasgow.
Thanks, Ian. So, Ambassador Khalilzad, the US Special Representative of Afghanistan, called on you today. After what has happened, all that has happened, what role is left you to play?
When he represents a very important country, United States is and will remain important. Their views matter, and he represents them. And it seems that if they have taken a decision, if they have, they will decide that. But if they have, then they will need someone as an interlocutor. And Mr. Zalmay Khalilzad has been in touch with them. He has been communicating. He knows them by name, by face. They've dealt with each other. There's a certain level of comfort they must have developed over the months. So he can and perhaps will.
But he has done his job, so
That's your assessment. In his view, it's an ongoing job.
Okay, Nick Schifrin from PBS.
Hi, Nick Schifrin from PBS NewsHour. It's been a while. I used to be the ACD correspondent, not about so about 10 years ago. I think that's the last time. Good to see it. I want to go back to the question about funding and what the U.S. will and won't do. And it's connected to normalization, but it really is just about money. As you know, it is really a United States unilateral choice whether to open up the money and send money to Afghanistan, to the Taliban. All of the money is in the city basically right now. There are, of course, efforts to go through the UN, to go through NGOs, but at the end of the day, that won't deliver the salaries, frankly, of government employees that the Taliban will need to pay in order to avoid an imminent collapse. So what's your suggestion, advice, discussions ongoing with the United States about whether the US will allow the money that it currently has frozen in New York and also through the IMF and the World Bank to allow the flow again? And you talked to Sally Day. Do you understand whether the US has made a decision?
You see, the US will have to weigh the option. And the option is to allow use of money that belongs to Afghans and is be spent on the people of Pakistan to meet their immediate humanitarian requirements, because they are asking the world to make pledges, to help on humanitarian grounds. That's a welcome development. We took place in Geneva. There were pledges close to $1.2 billion. Excellent. But the question is, what is there? This money has been committed, has yet to be delivered. But that money is available right now. And the requirement is right now. It's immediate. Any delay, every day, every week, there's a cost attached. And I think they should be cognizant of that. The second thing is, how will an economic collapse help US interests or interests of the West? What will that entail? A mass exodus. And where will those people go eventually? They will come to us, certainly. And we will have to deal with them. And we are dealing with them. Mind you, very few talk about that. Pakistan has been hosting close to 4 million refugees without international support or assistance. If we calculate, we spend perhaps close to $400 million a year. If you look at the total cost involved, we're doing it through our resources without any help. So that's the decision that has to be made. How do you gain when that exodus takes place? We don't have the capacity to absorb more. Other neighbors are equally concerned. Iran has close to 3 million, right? Tajikistan has their concerns. Right? Then where will they go? And on humanitarian institutions, if they are taken in, where will they eventually end up?
As far as you can tell, sir, the US has not made a decision yet.
On
On releasing money that the United States.
At least
has
I'm not
to
aware of
pass.
it. I'm not aware of it. I'm not aware of it. Even if they have, I'm not aware of it. So where will they eventually end up? The best bet, in my view, is help create an environment within Afghanistan so that there is no need for people to leave. One or two announcements, if they can stick to them and meet the commitment made, were positive. Announcing general amnesty, announcing end of war, announcing that there will be no revenge, right? If an environment can be created in which people feel secure, people feel that they can live in peace, then there will be no need for exodus. Because what do you want to do? You are trying to protect the vulnerable element, and if you can reduce their vulnerability, you're helping them. You're protecting them. That's the idea. So let's look for an environment which reduces their vulnerability.
We've got
and unfreezing funds could be helpful.
We have a question from outside from Fanas Fasihi from the New York Times. Can you confirm that the Taliban have nominated Suhail Shafir as UN ambassador? would Pakistan support or recommend they have a UN ambassador? We did cover that earlier, but you may again. And given their conduct so far and concern over human rights and women's rights, what is your response to many Afghans blaming Pakistan for supporting and enabling Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan, and particularly giving them military aid and specifically drones in the battle for Panjshir? It's up to you to.
That seat hot when you was that a question or
Yes.
is this your
No,
suggestion?
that's
a question.
That's a question. No, I'm merely the messenger.
Thank you. Thank you. I think if you actually believe that, I think you're in denial. You really are in denial. Then you have no idea, this to begin with. When I heard former President Ashraf Ghani speak in Tashkent and sort of allude that the trouble that Afghanistan was facing was on account of those 10,000 people that were sent by Pakistan into Afghanistan, and that's the reason for violence or increased level of violence in Afghanistan. He was in denial, and allow me to say he wasn't speaking the truth. And time has proven that. Where did the 300,000 people trained go? Where were they? They were far better trained and equipped than the Taliban. They were far greater in numbers and in sophisticated weaponry they had with them. So this would be living in denial if you feel that Taliban have taken over Kabul because of Pakistan's help. Allow me to say, Taliban have gained this ascendancy because of the failures of people who were governing Afghanistan. The credibility that they lost, the support they lost in the Afghan people, the squabbling, infighting, the corruption, the misgovernance, that all contributed, and people lost confidence in them. People want peace. Ordinary Afghan wants peace. Anyone that can give them hope and peace, and if they feel Taliban can do that, they are giving them the benefit of doubt. Who knows? Who knows what will happen tomorrow? But the people who were ruling and governing, they were failing, and they failed them.
Interesting. Roger,
Thank you. Mr. Minister, again,
from Nikkei.
I'm sorry, from Nikkei. I'm sorry I'm late. You may have said this already, but I did want to follow up. We did ask you a question yesterday about this, follow-ups on that, regarding Sohail Shaheen's nomination by the Taliban as the candidate for permanent representative at the UN, which begs the question, who should be representing Taliban, rather Afghanistan at the UN? You yesterday said there's a pragmatic political reality. It's up to you to see it, but can you be a little more clearer about Pakistan?
The clarity is that I don't take that decision. That is a decision that is taken by a committee. I'm told that there's a credentials committee, and whenever they meet, they will weigh the options and take a decision. I believe they haven't met yet. So how can I take a decision which is not mine?
But how would you see? Would you appreciate it if the credentials committee takes the decision and does accept the Shaheen's nomination?
I can't speak for the credentials committee. I'll have to wait for their decision.
Azim, you follow on that?
Is it correct to say that United States is still adopting the policy of do more towards Pakistan?
What can Pakistan do more? We would like to know. When Afghanistan was attacked, we sided with the United States. When they wanted to come into negotiations with the Taliban and Pakistan, they wanted Pakistan to facilitate, bring them to the negotiating table. We did that. When they wanted a safe passage for people to leave Afghanistan in safety, we helped. If they want Pakistan to assist in humanitarian, sort of distribution of humanitarian aid, we are willing, we are offering to help, and Pakistan can be that hub for distribution of assistance. When they wanted their offices, the UN offices and some other offices relocated to Islamabad, we said we are open to that. Tell us what can we do more that we have not done. Unfortunately, we have not been recognized for having done what we have done. Fingers have been pointed at Pakistan. We have been facing this blame game for far too long. And believe you me, it is not helpful. For someone who is trying to build a healthy bilateral relationship, it is important. United States is important for Pakistan. And Pakistan, believe you me, will remain important for the United States. How many friends do they have in that region? Just look around Afghanistan and see. And Pakistan, that has been supportive, that has been helpful. If you keep pushing them, Pakistan, pushing us into the corner, no matter what we do, it's never enough. Then a stage will come when Pakistanis feel that no matter what we do, it's impossible to please them. They keep shifting the goalpost. If that sinks in, it won't be helpful for the relationship.
Okay, your staff are telling me to go time. We wound up. Obviously, Pakistan is very important in this. That's why we're here asking the question.
And this is not the last time you're speaking.
And I'd really like to thank you on behalf of the Foreign Press Association for appearing here and for answering some rude questions, almost correct questions. All the best questions are rude. Any British journalist can tell you that. So we're very grateful that you came, and we hope to see you again soon. And we hope there's a successful denouement of the various relations, the ballet between China, the US, Russia, and all the others. You seem to have got yourself a really mixed card on the dance floor at the moment. Any final comments?
I wish I could choose my partners.
Who would it be?
That is for you to guess.
Save the last answer. Okay,
Thank you.